Saturday morning, 8:23 a.m. It all started with a simple request from my wife. My boot camp partition got messed up after the update. Can you fix it for me? I'm going for a run and we'll be back soon. I nodded without a second thought. 8 years of marriage and I had always been the one fixing the small things around the house, from leaky pipes, squeaky hinges, to technical glitches in Eva's MacBook. But I didn't expect that what I was about to fix today wouldn't be software. It would be my entire marriage. I'm not the curious type. I've never opened Eva's phone, emails, or messages. She has her own space, and I trust her. But as I was rebooting her computer after a series of troubleshooting steps, a familiar ping from Outlook popped up in the top right corner of the screen, accompanied by a chilling subject line. Final divorce strategy, attached documents. I froze. My hand stopped midair, the cursor hovering over the notification. I should have closed it. I should have pretended I never saw it. But there are moments when you know, just one click, and your life will never be the same again. I clicked. The sender was Patricia Weiss Esquire, a lawyer. The email read, "Eva, I've received the account statements. The total amount is currently $156,000, accumulated over 6 years without your husband's knowledge. The way you've transferred $500 each week from the joint account to your personal account has been discreet, and as discussed, we will finalize the withdrawal strategy on May 15th. Everything seems legally sound based on the financial structure you provided." Beneath that was Eva's email, each word like a knife to my heart. "I've been transferring $500 a week from the joint account, funded by his inheritance, into a savings account at First Republic. No one knows. 6 years. Enough for me to accumulate $156,000. It's more than enough to leave and start a new life, without that pathetic failure of a man anymore." Pathetic failure. She called me a pathetic failure. The man she had spent 8 years with, the man who woke up early every morning to make her coffee, the man who put all the inheritance money from my grandfather into a joint account for her to manage. I don't know how long I sat frozen in front of the screen. My hands were ice cold. My throat was dry. The attached reports, PDF bank statements from an account I never knew existed, kept popping up like charges in a case against me. It was all systematic. Transfers every Tuesday, right when I was usually busy with meetings and didn't check the account. A clever theft stretched over 6 years. Eva came back after her run, sweat beaded on her temples, a bright smile on her face. She leaned down and kissed my cheek, thanking me for fixing the computer. I smiled, a smile colder than anything I was feeling inside. "The computer's fine now. I fixed it." "You're so good," she said. "Do you want me to make some buttered toast?" "Sounds great," I replied, my voice unusually calm. From that moment on, I lived like two different people. One was the attentive husband, still making coffee for my wife every morning, having dinner together, watching Netflix, and sharing the little things of everyday life. The other was the man carefully gathering evidence, building a plan to destroy the woman who had been silently stabbing me every week for 6 years. I took screenshots of the emails, sent them to my private account, downloaded the bank statements to my personal hard drive, marked the email as unread, restarted the computer as if nothing had ever happened. The next day, I quietly retrieved the bank statements from our joint account. Everything matched perfectly. Eva had taken $156,000, every penny, from my grandfather's inheritance. Money that was meant for the dream house, for our children's future, or for peaceful retirement years. I didn't cry, I didn't yell, I didn't smash anything. I just sat there holding the cup of coffee she just handed me and made a plan. I knew I couldn't confront her yet, not until I had protected what was left. I called Gunnar, my best friend from college. He swore he would help me see this through to the end. The next day, I opened Eva's wallet while she was in the shower. I found her First Republic bank card. I took a picture. I checked her phone, something I'd never done in 8 years, using my fingerprint that had already been saved. The banking app confirmed everything the email had said was true. 6 years, $156,000. No explanation, just a fake smile and calling me a failure. I didn't know where this journey would take me, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to let her leave the way she had planned. Not quietly, not gently. No one can prepare for the moment they realize the person they trusted most is the sweetest betrayer of all. I thought I was a strong, rational man, even convinced I was the sane one in the marriage. But that Saturday morning, when I saw the email with the subject "Final Divorce Strategy" and read the line, "I've been transferring $500 a week from my husband's inheritance," I knew everything I had built had quietly burned to the ground. I didn't yell. I didn't smash anything. I didn't cry. The only thing I did was smile, a smile so cold it sent chills down my spine, as if my soul had stepped out of my body and was watching me fall apart. Eva called her actions setting up a strong starting position. 6 years, 312 weeks, every week taking $500 from an account funded by my grandfather's inheritance. The elderly man, bent with age, working until 72, who never bought anything expensive for himself except an old radio. He left me $650,000 so that when you need it, son, you won't have to live without freedom. And Ava turned $156,000 of that into her own version of freedom. It took me almost an entire day to calm down before reaching out to Gunnar, my best friend from college, the first person I could think of. We met at a small bar where the floor was sticky from beer and the lights were always dim, much like my life at that moment. I told him everything. Gunnar, who had divorced his wife after being betrayed, nodded slowly. "Operation Phoenix," he said, "will burn her plan to the ground and you'll rise from the ashes." And just like that, I began, not out of anger, but with a plan. The first step was to sever our financial ties. That Monday, I opened a new bank account, one that had no ties to us before. I didn't immediately transfer the entire $487,000 from our joint account. That would be too obvious. Instead, I withdrew little by little, starting with $250,000 that very afternoon, right as Eva was getting her nails done. The balance in our joint account still looked stable, so she wouldn't suspect anything. It felt like I was carefully disarming a bomb, piece by piece, trying not to let it explode too soon. Next, I started gathering evidence. I bought a new external hard drive. Every email, every text message between her and attorney Patricia, every screenshot of bank statements, all of it was stored in 3 different places, one on a cloud drive, one on the hard drive, and one USB safely hidden in the shoe compartment under my bed. I knew she was smart, but I was a security engineer. I left no trace. The third step was to find a place of my own. I rented a small apartment not too far from work, paid the deposit in cash, didn't sign under my real name, just a short-term contract for the transition period. I needed a place I could retreat to once everything blew up. And the final step, I needed a lawyer. Kathy, the divorce lawyer I found on Reddit, a woman in her 50s with a voice that could silence even a judge, looked over my case and said bluntly, "She doesn't stand a chance. We've got embezzlement of inheritance, financial fraud, intentional concealment of assets, and abuse of access. And you still want to go easy on her?" I nodded. "I want everything to be clean, but if she pushes me, I won't hold back." Ava came home late every night, saying she was in a meeting, at the gym, or preparing for a new conference. But I knew she had put a deposit on a luxury apartment downtown, the one her mother had accidentally mentioned last Sunday. "Eva found that cute place, windows from floor to ceiling," she said while adjusting the fridge magnets, as if nothing had just exploded. I sat there expressionless. Every night, Eva would hum, offer me coffee, ask if I wanted pizza. She was trying to make everything seem normal, to keep me from suspecting anything. But it was that very normalcy that made my skin crawl. May 15th, it was coming up. She had planned to leave the exact day I was supposed to go play poker with Gunnar. At 8 p.m., I would leave the house. She would move out in the dead of night, like a thief. But what she didn't know, I wasn't going to poker that day. She didn't know that I had carefully gathered all the evidence, moved all the assets, and even transferred the irreplaceable documents out of the house. My grandfather's hard drive, photo albums, birth certificates. I did it all like a ghost. Ava was starting to get uneasy. Maybe it was her intuition, or maybe it was because of the computer issues lately that made her check her phone more often, more cautiously. But it wasn't enough. She still thought her plan was intact. She still thought she would quietly leave with $156,000, a new apartment, and not have to say a word to me. But I was here, and I was waiting. Operation Phoenix was in its final stage. That morning everything was eerily quiet. No wind, no rain. The sun rose slowly, as if even it was hesitant about the day ahead, the day I had been waiting for over a month. My Fitbit on my wrist showed 5:32 a.m. I hadn't really slept through the night. My mind was as taut as a bowstring, not because I was scared, but because I couldn't afford to make a mistake. Eva was still asleep, her face looking unnaturally peaceful. The woman who had stolen $156,000 from my grandfather's inheritance, the one who had called me a pathetic failure in an email to her lawyer, was peacefully sleeping, thinking today would be the start of the new life she had secretly been planning for 6 years. But what she didn't know was that I had a plan too. And today, May 15th, was my day. I made coffee, just like every day, as if nothing was about to happen. Eva came downstairs at 7:15 a.m., her hair a little messy, her white silk nightgown draped gently over her shoulders. She glanced at me and smiled. "You're up early. What's going on?" I smiled, took a sip of my coffee, and shook my head. "Nothing. Just thinking about tonight's poker game." She looked relieved, then started rambling on about the weather, tick-tock, the strange noise the garbage disposal was making, the little things in life that she pretended to still care about. She kissed me on the cheek before leaving at 8:03 a.m., saying she had some errands to run. Thanks to the GPS tracker I secretly installed in her phone, I saw Eva head straight to her new apartment, the place where she planned to start her life without me, and that gave me the time I needed. I opened my banking app. There was still $7,000 in our joint account, the remainder of my last paycheck. I transferred the entire amount to my separate account. It was legal because it was my money. I left a small amount from Eva's account. I didn't touch a single penny that wasn't mine, just enough so she wouldn't immediately notice the difference. I drove to the bank branch. Trevor, the manager, seemed incredibly uncomfortable when I presented the issue. I handed him the bank statement, the email, the screenshots of the transactions, and the plan Eva had outlined. Although he couldn't freeze the account without Eva's signature, I requested, and was granted, that any withdrawals over $1,000 require both parties' approval. That was enough to stop her from draining the account once she realized the storm was coming. Gunnar had sent me a text. "Today's the day. Burn it all, my friend." I smiled. Not the kind of relieved smile, but the kind of smile from a soldier who had prepared everything for the final battle. At 3:30 p.m., according to GPS, Eva was leaving the mall, probably shopping for the new home she thought she would have. I got home first. I sat right at the kitchen table where everything had started. In front of me was a manila folder. Inside was the entire truth, screenshots of the email she sent to her lawyer, calling me a pathetic failure. The secret bank statement showing the $156,000. Text from Eva to her friend, LLA, documents regarding the deposit for the upscale apartment, our marriage papers, and finally the divorce papers. The door opened, 4:03 p.m. Eva walked in, holding a Target bag and a Starbucks cup. She froze when she saw me waiting. "Hey, why are you home so early?" She tried to keep her voice casual. "Poker tonight. I just wanted to prepare a little," I replied, my eyes not leaving hers. She set the bags down, took out a pastry, and gently asked, "Do you want some?" "No, thanks. I've already eaten." I pushed the folder towards her. "How's the apartment looking?" She froze. Her expression changed in an instant, from surprise to panic, then feigned calmness. "What apartment?" Eva asked, her voice slightly shaking. "The one with the $155,000 deposit. The one you were planning to move into tomorrow, while I'm at poker." Silence filled the room. The ticking of the clock counted down to the moment of reckoning. "I can explain," Eva whispered. I said nothing. I simply opened each page of the folder, each transaction, each message, everything marked and printed in color. She started crying. At first it was fake tears, then came the sobs, mascara smudged all over her cheeks. "Why did you do it?" I asked. "Why use your own father's money to build a life that I wasn't even invited to?" She didn't answer. She just sobbed and repeated, I'm sorry. I don't remember exactly when her tears stopped. All I know is that at the moment I stood up and pushed the divorce papers closer to her eyes, the world around me seemed to go eerily silent. Eva shakily opened the folder. She wasn't lying anymore. No more excuses. It was just a slow, bitter collapse from the inside. How long have you known? She asked, her voice rasping through clenched teeth. I sat back down, crossed my arms, my eyes calm. Since the day you gave me your laptop to fix the partition issue. In that moment, something in Eva's eyes shattered. Maybe it was arrogance. Maybe it was regret, but not love. Because if there had been love, it wouldn't have died 6 years ago when she started withdrawing $500 every week from my account, from the memory of my grandfather, from the future we were supposed to build together. What are you going to do to me? Eva asked next, her voice finally small. I answered clearly, nothing. You've already done everything yourself. I told her every step of the plan, how I'd protected the remaining money, spoken to a lawyer, rented a new place, moved my belongings, and collected all the evidence. I told her I knew about the apartment, about the man named Clifford, about all the lies during the business trips on the weekends. And I ended with the words that made her collapse. You have 10 days to leave this house. I won't sue you. I don't want to drag out the punishment, but I will never forgive you for this. She broke down. She collapsed onto the table. Her shoulders shook with each sob, but I felt nothing. No anger, no hatred, just an eerie emptiness, as if my heart had already been pulled out by my own hands. 3 weeks later, Eva left. She didn't leave much behind, just a short handwritten note and a familiar scent of her perfume lingering in the old bedroom. I sold the house, moved into my new apartment, small and simple, but it was mine. I used the money from selling the old place to open a trust account for the future. I changed all the passwords, transferred all assets into my name. I owed Eva nothing anymore. As for Eva, she's living alone in the apartment she planned to use for her rebirth. Clifford? I'm not sure he's even still part of her life, or if he ran off as soon as she lost her financial support. Friends? Most of them stayed silent after learning the truth. And finally, the numbers. The amount she stole, $156,000. The amount I managed to hold on to from my inheritance, $487,000. The number of years I was deceived, 6. The number of days it took me to stand up and rebuild from scratch, 30. Today I sit here alone, feeling neither sadness nor anger, just peace. On the wall there's a photo of my grandfather, the man who taught me that honesty can't be bought with money, but it can make a lifetime as solid as a rock. Eva destroyed everything, but I'll rebuild, stronger, clearer, and this time for myself. What do you think about this story? Feel free to leave a comment, share your thoughts, perspectives, or similar stories you've witnessed. If you found this story compelling, share it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters in other stories, where the truth and justice will always be exposed, no matter how deeply it's buried. I'll see you in the next story. My voice will always be here to bring you back to the truths that have been buried. Thank you for listening to my story.